Beat sensitivity pain fast with Sensodyne Rapid Action for clinically proven relief in 60 seconds.
Kenya, like other countries in the world, is faced with an unprecedented crisis as a result of COVID-19 pandemic.
Kenya is the leading electricity producer in the East African region. Currently, we generate a total of 1,803 megawatts drawn from hydro, geothermal, wind, and thermal. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, we have deployed mechanisms to ensure electricity generation continues uninterrupted during this period of uncertainty. We come to work for you to ensure you have reliable electricity supply even during these hard times.
Phoenix Android TV launch.
A stock in a movie fast. Yani watu wananunua unaachwa nini? 21,799. Android TV yenye remote inaongea.
These promotions will be running from the 15th to the 21st of July.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Get an 8-acre prime residential plot with soil merchants in Kisamis along Magadi Road, a few minutes from the vibrant Kiserian town. Electricity and borehole water available at 148,000 Kenya shillings for cash buyers or 195,000 Kenya shillings for installment buyers. Pay 30% deposit and clear the balance in 6 months. Viewing is daily and will be done within the guidelines of COVID-19. SMS plot to 21595 for details. Buy today, build tomorrow.
Let your little light shine. Let your little light shine for the world to see. Let your little light shine for the world to see.
This is NTV.
Good evening. This is NTV Tonight. Thanks for joining the broadcast. Today, the country recorded its highest number of COVID-19 related deaths in 24 hours after 12 people succumbed to the virus. We'll take a closer look at Kenya's situation. But first, here's a check of the global numbers, and there are over 13 million cases of COVID-19 around the world, with the global death toll standing at over 573,000. In Africa, the number of cases are inching closer to 600,000, while over 13,000 people have died. And in the US, 3.4 million people have been infected, and the virus has killed over 137,000 people. Here are the day's top stories.
Tonight, government preaches personal responsibility as the country records the highest number of COVID deaths. But still not everyone is a believer.
We don't want to have a situation where it is only after we die that we cease to be in denial.
Also tonight, the forgotten front lines.
When you have more than 10 nurses testing positive in an institution, that should be a worrying trend.
Healthcare workers bear brunt of COVID-19. Plus,
will as many as of that opinion say aye?
The battle for county billions.
The formula that has been suggested by the committee is extremely divisive. Even if my county is benefiting.
The Senate do now adjourn.
Nothing special about this Senate sitting as it fails to bridge divisions over revenue sharing formula. And also tonight, a ravaged land.
Wanaingia juu ya nchi, wanamaliza majani yote, wanamaliza ile nyasi ambayo imetoka.
And a desperate rush to salvage what's lost. The swarm of devastation sweeping through northern Kenya.
NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi.
Joining us in sign language interpretation tonight is Flora Atieno. Let's now begin with a closer look at the coronavirus numbers in the country. And 189 more people tested positive out of a total 1,205 samples tested in the last 24 hours. The national tally now stands at 10,294. The country also recorded the highest number of deaths in 24 hours after 12 more people succumbed to the virus to bring the total number of deaths to 197. On a brighter note, though, 65 more people have recovered after treatment, with the total number of recoveries now standing at 2,946. Nairobi still has the highest number of cases with 147 new ones. Kiambu recorded 20, Machakos 11, Kajiado 5, Mombasa 2 and Uasin Gishu, Kisumu, Laikipia and Kericho 1 each. And to add on to those grim statistics, 22 people at the Pumwani Maternity Hospital here in Nairobi, including nurses, have tested positive for the coronavirus. The Ministry of Health, however, says it is doing all it can to keep staff, mothers and their newborns safe. Eunice Omolo reports.
The busiest maternity hospital in the country was jolted by a grim discovery. 22 people at the facilities, including nurses, had tested positive for the coronavirus, while others wait with bated breath for the test results.
When you have more than 10 nurses testing positive in an institution, that should be a worrying trend. If we are supposed to take care of the community that is coming to seek our services, we are the people now going to isolation, we are the people going to quarantine. Even by the virtue of us not closing the institution, then you coming to seek for a service, who will be there to offer that service?
Daily deliveries at the hospital range from between 60 to over 100, and now panic has spread like the virus among staff and mothers. The Ministry of Health, however, says it is working to contain the situation.
The situation will be assessed by the medics, and so far, if we have been able to isolate, I know that we have been able to isolate everybody. I know there is mass testing that has happened in the entire hospital. I think yesterday we isolated 2 more yesterday. So if we are confident that the hospital is clean and we don't have the same situation, then it is not necessary to close the hospital. But of course, the safety of people and the safety particularly of children and infants in the hospital will be paramount and #1 concern.
Frontline healthcare workers battling the pandemic have expressed concern that they are ill-armed to do battle with the virus that has ravaged their ranks.
When we talk of social distancing, clients are still sharing beds. We have a challenge of PPEs, as much as we have, but we still have a challenge. When I talk about PPE, it should be a full PPE.
It is estimated that close to 300 healthcare workers in Kenya have been infected while in the line of duty. So far, 2 nurses and a doctor have succumbed to coronavirus. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
Well, as you heard, Kenya recorded the highest number of coronavirus deaths in 24 hours after 12 people succumbed to the COVID-19 disease. But even as the curve continues to take a steep trajectory, there are a number of those who are still in denial over the existence or the deadly impact of COVID-19. And as NTV's Leila Mohammed reports, here's Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe's message to doubting Thomas. Wait for it.
As the country tries to temper the coronavirus outbreak, health experts now also have to address the doubts bubbling up about the seriousness of the pandemic.
Kitu mimi naogopa maisha yangu ni Mungu tu peke yake. Lakini uniambie mimi niogope ugonjwa na hii mask niko naye hata si ya kusema hii mask.
Sijaamini kama iko hiyo ugonjwa. Jili hatujaona mtu mwenye ako nayo. Sasa tunavaa tu mask jili serikali imesema tuvae.
I don't know which Kenyans you have been talking to, but most Kenyans are not in denial. Those who are in denial, there is nothing you and I can do about.
According to the latest survey by research firm TIFA, a number of Kenyans were skeptical about the existence or the dangers of the virus because they didn't have enough information about it. In recent days, some have shrugged off warnings about the dangers of the virus and disregarded guidelines to keep it at bay.
Kuja ishike nye itashika, wakwenda waende wakubaki wabaki.
Despite the surge of COVID numbers in this country, there are those doubting Thomases who still believe that the virus is non-existent in the country. CS Kagwe now says that he has done his very best to give the best information to Kenyans across the nation where they are to be able to make better choices for their health.
With movement restrictions relaxed in the country, there are fears that the number of infections could spike. The government still insists on personal responsibility.
There are some countries that actually declared there was nothing like COVID-19. But very big people there died.
US President Donald Trump, who has on a number of occasions downplayed the dangers of the virus and resisted covering his face, showed up in public yesterday wearing a mask. His Brazilian counterpart Jair Bolsonaro tested positive after months of minimizing its severity. UK's Boris Johnson too was a skeptic until he ended up in the ICU for a week. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Meanwhile, police in Maseno last night arrested 17 people, among them 9 minors, who were attending a night party at a popular hotel. The minors, 6 girls and 3 boys, were among revelers and local artists invited to the party. Oko Okusa has those details.
Security personnel rounded up the minors and booked them at Maseno police station for disobeying the curfew and contravening COVID-19 protocols.
Hii bash ilifaa ianze kitu morning, then akapostpone akasema ati mwenye hapo ati alisema sijui ako busy na hapo, so inaweza endelea kitu, inaweza anza kitu usiku kitu saa 1.
The motive of the night party remains unclear, but the suspects who spoke to the media confirmed that prior arrangements had been made by the convener to have them accommodated at the Riverside Hotel along the Kisumu-Busia highway.
So unajua venye sisi tulikuwa nakuja ndio tukamit na huo boy, huo msanii wa hapa. So ndio akatuambia, tukamwambia everything nini, akatuambia everything iko clear, security iko. So unajua hiyo story nyingine, then sisi tukaona mapolisi wakiingia. Tukashtukia. So tulikuwa najua anything yenye ilikuwa inaendelea.
Tulikuwa tunatarajia ati bashi ianzie saa hiyo, but ilikuwa imedelay. So tulikuwa hata sisi tulikuwa surprise mbona. So kufika hiyo hata huyo jamaa na akakuwa missing.
Sasa vile nikaambiwa maafisa wa polisi vile walikuja hivi wakafika tu wakasema watu waingia hapa ndani. Mimi nikashangaa naingia mbona.
Confirming the incident, Maseno OCPD Edward Kangata said police have already contacted the parents of the minors for questioning. The remaining 8 were taken to Maseno Locust this morning and charged. The incident comes amidst rising cases of child abuse and teenage pregnancies after schools were closed as a measure to contain the spread of coronavirus. Efforts to get a comment from the hotel owner were futile. Okokusa, NTV.
And just a reminder that it is your responsibility. Wear your mask, social distance and sanitize. Elsewhere now, 2 Kenya Defence Forces pilots lost their lives today after being involved in a helicopter crash. The helicopter crashed at around 11 a.m. this morning at Kirinyaga village in Kirinyaga area, that's in Masinga sub-county in Machakos County. According to a statement from the Department of Defence, the Kenya Army helicopter Hughes 500 MD was on a training flight before the incident occurred. Police from Kirinyaga Police Station were the first to arrive at the scene before the military rescue and recovery team arrived about 20 minutes after the accident. Investigations are still underway to unravel the cause of the crash. Let's now switch focus to the battle for the county billions. And there is no end in sight to the stalemate on the formula for sharing revenue that could see some counties lose billions in allocations. A special Senate sitting ended without a clear way forward, as some senators, led by Mandera Senator Mohammed, insist that they will not settle for anything less than 1 man, 1 kilometre, 1 shilling. Their counterparts in more populous counties insist on a formula that will give more to counties with a higher population. NTV's Kennedy Moredi dissects the contentious issues.
On your screens. The disagreement over how to share revenue is nothing new. And there was nothing special about this special sitting convened to find a way forward of our divisive revenue sharing formula.
They intend to move amendments to the motion.
The House adjourned as senators failed to find harmony on the revenue sharing formula. Minutes into the afternoon session, the leader of Minority, James Orengo, was asking for an adjournment to build more consensus on the amendments introduced to the report by the Finance Committee. But NTV has since learnt there was a plot long before to have the new formula thrown out.
We have forced the adjournment today because for reason no other reason but to make sure that we build consensus.
The formula that has been suggested by the committee is extremely divisive. Even if my county is benefiting, it is ridiculous to see that the other counties are losing colossal amount of resources.
The third generation formula proposed by the committee proposes a basic equal share of 20%, a share of 20% to the health function, 12% to agriculture, other county services 16%, poverty 14%, urban services 4%, land is assigned 5% of the square root of land area, roads 7%, fiscal effort 1%, and fiscal prudence 1%. Land is the most contentious of them all. Most vast counties, particularly in northeastern, now stand to lose out. In the second generation formula, the land function had been allocated 8%.
The formula as envisioned was not based in any statistics. It was not based on a constitutional, recognized body, CRA. In fact, we were afraid that if this formula goes through, the next thing they'll do is to disband CRA.
Money should always be allocated to people, not trees and land. I have never sat in a world where we are developing a generation because of an empty land. It has allowed us to adjourn.
This now means counties stand to lose billions of shillings. Kwale, for instance, will lose 1.27 billion shillings, Narok 918 million shillings, Nakuru will lose 728 million shillings, Nyeri, which is in Mount Kenya, will lose 317 million shillings. Makueni will lose 127 million shillings, Isiolo 63 million shillings. The Tharaka County will also lose about 64 million shillings, while Kajiado will lose 31 million shillings.
The same sword that will be used to deny any county even a shilling of what it got last year can be the sword that will be used someday in future by a national government that hates devolution to slash money from each and every county.
With some counties from the northeastern part of the country risking losing over 1 billion shillings in the third generation formula, senators from that region are now threatening on taking a different political stand if their voice is not listened to and acted on very fast. Kennedy Moredi, NTV at Parliament Buildings.
Meanwhile, in Kirinyaga, the county's budget is the latest source of strife between Governor Anne Waiguru and the County Assembly. The governor now says she has appealed to the Senate, the controller of budget and the leadership of the ruling party to intervene in the stalemate that saw MCA significantly slash and alter allocations. NTV's Melita Oletenges has the details.
Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru now says she will not approve the 2020-2021 budget passed by the County Assembly after they slashed and reassigned budget allocations to health, donor-funded programs and other statutory obligations. In the health sector, for instance, Governor Anne Waiguru pointed out that the MCAs had moved 300 million shillings meant for health workers' salaries to the construction of ward offices, which may paralyze health services in the county. Waiguru also faults the MCAs for scrapping 184 million shillings allocated as conditional matching funds for donor-funded programs under the Education, Health and Agriculture dockets. The Assembly also removed 30 million shillings meant for paying pending bills, among other allegations. Waiguru says the entire budget is illegal and has appealed to the Senate, the Controller of Budget and the National Jubilee Party leadership to save the county from grinding into a halt. The governor has been at odds with the County Assembly, which impeached her, accusing her of abuse of office, gross misconduct and a violation of the Constitution unsubstantiated.
Your word as a joint venture.
She was saved by the Senate, which called for mediation between the executive and the Assembly. A week ago, Governor Waiguru withdrew a 7-member mediation team after MCAs rejected it, claiming they were not consulted. Melita Oletenges, NTV.
Now, the Nairobi Metropolitan Service Director, that's General Mohammed Badi, earlier today stopped construction on a piece of land along 3rd Parklands Avenue, said to have been irregularly allocated to a private developer. Workers at the site fled when he, accompanied by police, arrived at the site. Badi said construction of a public hospital will begin soon, even as he warned that land grabbers will no longer enjoy immunity. Ngina Kirori reports.
The High Ridge Centre in Nairobi was first constructed in 1952 and has gone through more tussles than the humble building could endure. This was evident when it came tumbling down in April 2011 in the hands of hired goons following a protracted land dispute between a private investor and the community. The Parklands Community Group then blamed Garoon Investments and Alif Homes Limited for the demolitions, but nearly 10 years later, private developers are creeping back, intent on putting up skyscrapers as a stamp of their impunity.
When people around here have a medical issue, they have to travel all the way either to Mbakadi or Kenyatta, which is unfair and is also a demonstration of people operating under serious impunity.
Nairobi Metropolitan Services Director General Mohammed Badi assured residents that any public land grabbed by cartels will be repossessed.
Any land that belongs to the county will go back. We cannot allow individuals to be greater than the state.
We must stop these bad manners of grabbing every open space reserved for public utility.
In April last year, the property was questionably transferred to Elmi Afra Properties Limited, but Justice Lois Komingoi stopped the transfer until the case was heard. The centre previously offered services to those living in Parklands area, as well as the deep sea slum, Mijiwa Huruma, Githogoro and Gashia areas, just to name a few. Gena Kirori, NTV.
All right, from that, we're heading into a break now on NTV Tonight. But don't turn away until you see this heart-stopping footage. This is an American daredevil who walked a tight rope, get this, across the crater of an active volcano in Nicaragua. It took him half an hour to traverse the boiling lake of lava spewing toxic gases. For the stunt, he wore goggles and a respirator and also a safety harness. The crater is known as the Mouth of Hell, and it was the longest and most dangerous high wire walk of the devil's life. This, of course, was before the COVID-19 pandemic.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Peri is ensuring that your travel experience is safe during these unprecedented times. Our network of over 40 bus companies has committed to maintaining highest standards of sanitation, providing water or sanitizers, checking all passengers' temperatures, and sterilizing waiting bays and buses frequently. Wear your mask and maintain social distance always, and sneeze or cough into your elbow. Book your ticket online via iAbiri and use our cashless payment options to play your part to win the COVID-19 war.
Wakenya, hii fight hatukuchagua, lakini tuko na choice. Tuchague kujilinda. Tuchague kuprotect familia zetu. Tuchague usafi. Kuosha mikono. Kuosha manyumba zetu. Ndio tulinde watoto wetu. Na tuvae mask. Future yetu iko mikononi mwetu. Kenya, let's do it for the ones we love.
We have continued to receive reports of domestic violence. And I believe that we are in a situation where each one seems to be groping in the dark. There's a certain sense of loss. People are trying to find their feet in this new environment. Life expects responsibility from us and asks us to give the best of ourselves in the circumstances. Our following of Christ the Good Shepherd should enable us to have more compassion and concern for the vulnerable. These are the moments to mind the life of children. May the Lord give us the courage to care for each other and to be brave together, knowing that we are not alone. For the Good Shepherd, who shed his blood for us, is with us to give us an assurance of life to the full.
Over the past few months, our country has stood together to keep the COVID numbers down. The numbers are important because they decide how the story unfolds. At Safaricom, our numbers also tell a story of hope, resilience, and recovery. Every day, new numbers tell us the same story, that we never let what we can't do come in the way of what we can. Let's keep going.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Welcome back. Family and friends bid the final goodbye to bubbly Dr. Doreen Adisa, who was laid to rest at their family home in Ndalu, Tongaren constituency. She was the country's first healthcare worker to succumb to the coronavirus. NTV's Gabriel Kudaka attended the emotional send-off.
A community gathers to confront its grief. Friends, colleagues, and family members moved to tears for a soldier who fell in the coronavirus battlefield. The late Dr. Doreen Adisa was the first doctor in the country to have succumbed to the coronavirus. She died on the 10th of July. The fourth-born child of Grace and Philemon Lugaliki was extolled as charming, bubbly, and caring.
We could come when we are meeting here at home or in her house. She would be the unifying factor. We would have fun so much, and I know we've lost a lot.
The family says it has not only had to bear the burden of loss, but also that of coronavirus stigma.
When I arrived here on Saturday at night, people would be scared. You'd see someone going like 5 meters away from you.
This is the last respect for the late Dr. Doreen Adisa. Friends, relatives and colleagues describe her as a person who was so passionate about her work, eventually paying the ultimate prize. Her family made an impassioned appeal to the government to hold her young family's hand, even as her colleagues called for better protection for healthcare workers out in the front lines against the pandemic.
Especially for the frontline healthcare workers, that we put in place what the President directed on the issue of welfare, insurance, group compensation.
And to the doubters and the naysayers,
Corona iko.
Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
May the late Dr. Doreen rest in peace and grace to her family. Elsewhere now, and over the last 10 months, several parts of the country have been battling a different kind of pandemic. Insects that ravage everything green in their path. Isiolo and Marsabit have been among the counties hardest hit by the swarms of locusts that continue to threaten livelihoods. But Leila Mohammed reports that despite the tough times, some communities are literally planting new pastures as a means of survival.
Mark Lepila runs after his small herd of goats each morning in order to ensure they don't wander far off the kraal. But even as the animals race to get their first meal of the day, there is nothing much to eat at this part of Stalemates in Marsabit County. Lepile sighs every time he begins to speak about the tribulations he faces ever since a group of unwanted guests landed in his village a few months ago.
Wanaingia juu ya mti, wanamaliza majani yote, wanamaliza mimea yote chini, wanamaliza ile nyasi ambayo imetoka. So tukawa na shida kubwa sana.
The locusts have ravaged the lands, leaving destruction in their wake. What was once green scenery is nothing but dust and shrubs left naked and exposed to the elements.
When large swarms of locusts affected these communities, then it destroys vegetation and then affects the well-being of livestock, milk, and also the health of these livestock. So this then directly affects food situation of the households, because livestock have to move away from where communities are settled.
Mali wanakuanga na mwili mzuri sana, lakini kwa sababu sasa hakuna ile kitu wanakula, wameanza kukonda sana, mpaka hata ni shida ndio inachukuliwa. So ukienda tu kupatiana, unapatiana na kitu kidogo, pesa kidogo.
Lepile is however grateful that he still has animals to take out of the kraal each morning, but he's fearful that if the skies don't open up soon, he may be left with nothing.
During this recovery phase, some pastoralists and agro-pastoralists have started alternative livelihoods, like starting small businesses.
Farther down in Isiolo, sheep graze on the little greenery that dots the browns of the earth. The herders here are grateful that their animals can feed to their fill, but this wasn't the case a few months ago.
Before zianze kuja bandei, hatukuwa tumeona madhara mingi.
juu wanyama walikuwa na lishe mzuri, walikuwa na mimea za kutosha, mvua ikinyesha tulikuwa na mimea za kutosha. Lakini baada za Locust kufika ile hii tuliona madhara mingi sana.
Scientists say that a second and even more vicious swarm is expected in East Africa this year. They've been monitoring the movements of the worst locust outbreak in Kenya in 70 years. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization has warned that an imminent second hatch of the insects could threaten the food security of 25 million people across the region as it enters the cropping season. For pastoralists who have been stung once by this scourge, they are fearful of darker days if no one comes to their rescue.
There were efforts to control the locusts, which involved the Agriculture and Livestock Extension Officers, the Kenya Defence Forces, and the National Youth Service. Wow Division were one of the partners who assisted the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock to control the locusts. They actually supported the officers to spray, especially in Burat ward.
Kenyan officials have said coronavirus crackdowns have slowed efforts to fight the infestation as crossing borders has become harder and pesticide deliveries are held up.
Kuna mtandao tuliowekewa inaitwa Locust. Locust ni mtandao ya kuweza kupasha habari mahali ziko alafu mara moja zinakuja kutatiliwa mara moja.
In this community in Marsabit County, the women gather for a bountiful harvest. Months ago, the lands were left bare as the swarms cleared the grasslands. Today they harvest a special kind of grass they were provided with, which they planted a few weeks ago. Just as the rains fell over the area, they say the provision couldn't have come at a better time as their animals had almost run out of pasture. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
All right, now, are you among those who have been asking, do you know anyone who knows anyone who's died of COVID? Well, we have the answer for you. In Your Daily Nation tomorrow, we bring you the faces and the names of Kenyans whose story has come to a painful halt and whose dreams are dead. Stories of real people who have fallen victim to the virus. Don't miss your copy. All right, from that, we head into the business news after this breather. And speaking of breather, have a look at this serious virus protection measure. Claustrophobic may be, but this Brazilian couple from Rio de Janeiro is all about keeping the novel coronavirus at bay. As they stroll in the pier, in Copacabana in their astronaut-like suits, complete with helmets and all. Well, 66-year-old Tercio Galdino has suffered from chronic lung disease in the past, and he came up with the suits as a way to protect himself and his wife. Brazil has over 1.8 million COVID-19 cases and over 70,400 deaths.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Sacco, we are a reflection of you. We are a stable, financially sound institution providing tailor-made services to add value to your life, time and money. We are guided by your aspiration. We are Stima Sacco, a true reflection of you.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
The risk of illness causing germs is increasing. It is believed that the coronavirus can remain on surfaces in your home for up to 9 days. Touching infected surfaces is one of the ways in which germs spread. Regularly disinfect your floors, countertops, and kitchen surfaces with bleach, and use an effective toilet cleaner inside and outside your toilet bowl. This message is brought to you by Medifact, JIC, and Harpic.
NTV Business News in association with Kenya Ports Authority, growing business, enriching lives.
Thanks for staying with us. The business news is up on now, and Kenya Railways has resumed passenger operations on the standard gauge railway, albeit at reduced capacity. Well, this comes more than 3 months after the service was suspended due to the coronavirus pandemic. Victor Kiprop reports.
It's been nearly 100 days since the SGR passenger train last pulled onto the Syokimau railway station in Nairobi. But the train connecting two of the country's largest cities, Mombasa and Nairobi, is now back on track.
My goodness, I feel like screaming. This is like freedom, like you're coming from prison and then you're out there. So to me, it's amazing. It's a good feeling.
But unlike before, the passengers now have to wash their hands, get their temperatures recorded, and maintain social distancing inside the train, a move that will see the train operate at half its capacity. This, it was initially feared, would trigger an increase in ticket prices.
We are not here to change price. We are here, as we do business, also make sure that we sustain our own customers. You know, those customers have also been affected by COVID-19.
3 years since the standard gauge railway made its first journey down to Mombasa, the project has struggled to break even. And with passenger operations now at 50% due to COVID-19, focus has now shifted to cargo to be able to help the business to keep moving by shouldering part of the project's huge costs of operation.
Our income, basically, our source of our revenues, are more from the freight services rather than passengers. And the sustainability of passengers is very important for any government to move their people from one area to the other. I'm not saying they don't pay money, they pay money, but passengers itself is not completely sustainable, but the mix between freight and passengers makes it possible for us to make money.
With operation costs estimated at 1.5 billion shillings every month, pressure has been piling on the SGR service to meet its costs, which had seen it accumulate 38 billion shillings in pending bills by the end of last month. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.
Chili farmers in Kitui County are amongst those counting heavy losses due to the disruption of supply chains owing to COVID-19. The farmers now hope that the gradual reopening of the economy and resumption of air travel will help breathe a new lease of life into the business. Our reporter Leila Mohammed with the details.
Jacob Mbeti and his wife come to this part of their farm every day to check in on their chili peppers, which they stored in sacks a few weeks ago. The chili farmer in Chuso, Mwingi North, says he's not sure how soon he will find a market for his produce, which he's afraid may go bad.
Tulikuwa tuna shida ya soko. Kuna wanunuzi walikuwa wanakuja kutununulia hapa mashambani ambao kwa bei nafuu.
pia ikawa hata haiwezi karibikia kwa shamba, haiwezi kaivia kwa shamba. Kulikuwa na kama ile iko green kabla haijaiva.
While international flights are expected to resume on August 1st, farmers in Mwingi North say that the ban on such flights made their chili much more bitter. They also say that the ban and cessation of movement in and out of counties with high disease risk for 4 months has forced the Mwingi farmers who had been practicing pepper farming to be left with no choice other than to change their line of farming.
Tangu late February tumekuwa na shida, mboga zetu zinakuwa zinaharibikia kwa shamba kwa sababu ya hakuna wanunuzi.
Jacob, a farmer who majored on farming of the bird's eye chili pepper, said the product, which is highly consumed in parts of the Netherlands, Germany and United Kingdom, had no market challenges as brokers came for the pepper at their farms. In the international market, consumers prefer the chili in its green state and not when it's over, ripe and red in color. Jacob, who had planted 2 acres of pepper and has since cleared the piece of land for horticultural farming, urged Kitui County government to step in and help small-scale farmers as they are currently struggling due to adverse effects of COVID-19. Kitui County Chief Officer in charge of Agriculture and Livestock Development, James Songolo, who visited the farmers, said the government has embarked on meander irrigation type of farming for produce of high-value agricultural crops. He also stated that due to the losses incurred by the pepper farmers, the government will also look into a way of compensating them. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
The immediate former national chairman of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, that's Kiprono Kitoni, has been appointed as the new chairperson of the board of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Kitoni was appointed as a board director of the exchange on the 30th of May 2018 and will be taking over from Samuel Kimani, who has served as chairman since March 2012 and stepped down today. Kitoni is now tasked with steering the exchange strategic plan for the period between 2020 and 2024, which targeted deepening the capital markets. Kitoni takes over at a time when the market is depressed, having been hit by capital flight in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the restructuring of the mortgage finance company Shelter Afrique's business saw the company trim its losses in 2019 to register 62.5 million shillings. The company's loss in 2019 was a 93.6% improvement from the loss reported back in 2018, as Shelter Afrique reaped benefits from an aggressive cost reduction exercise. While this improvement, notwithstanding the adverse effects of COVID-19, now threaten to decelerate the company's overall improvement, with the housing market experiencing a general slowdown. Recovery of bad loans helped Shelter Afrique improve its impairment charges by 73%.
Financial officer who drives the cost control mechanism. So you find there's been a 7% reduction in our costs. Our cost to income ratio has reduced to 68% against our budget of 70%.
NTV Business News in association with Kenya Ports Authority.
Hello, I'm Captain Cargo. For questions and to discover more, visit me at www.kpa.co.ke/Captain Cargo.
All right, stay with us as we take another break and check out what might just show up on your Zoom call. Well, most likely if you lived in Canada. Yep, it's Buckwheat the donkey. He is crashing people's Zoom meetings in order to make some money. Well, here's how it works. People who want to perhaps play a prank donate to the donkey sanctuary, and when they want Buckwheat to show up on the screen during a call. So it is mostly a fundraiser, and clearly cows are included in that prank too. The 12-year-old donkey has so far crashed 100 meetings since the end of April.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Do you need to sanitize or disinfect your hospital, school, factory, property, or community to ensure prevention and spread of COVID-19? Shop and Buy 254 brings you world-class foggers and fogging services right to your doorstep. Fogging disinfects both air and surfaces. This is also effective in disinfecting, prevention, and treatment of diseases and pests in livestock farming. To buy your foggers or get fogging services, call 0722 748 074 or email shopandbuy254@gmail.com. Stay safe. The COVID-19 fight is a collective responsibility.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Explorers of the night, wale wase wa kuhustle usiku, kustreama movies, music mix diehards, and gaming fanatics. We've heard you. It is now your time to fly your flag high. Do what you love, mpaka che na Telkom. Join Usiku Sako with Telkom night bundles that allow you rule the night at prices you love. Join our tribe, Usiku Sako Squad. Just dial *544# from your Telkom line and select the night bundle of your dreams. You are the legend the night needs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. 6, 7, 8.
The young ones are at home, and we know how that can go. Don't worry, we've got you.
A lesson will be learned.
-3 times -4. They can have fun as they learn on NTV.
What does 0 mean? It's just a number that means nothing.
This is so much fun!
It's our secret. NTV, turning on your world. Kids Edutainment in association with Blue Band Peanut Butter.
Welcome back. The Juakali sector in Kenya continues to make headlines during this time owing to their innovations. Affordable, durable hospital beds are the latest addition. Ruth Samwe spoke to some of the artisans hoping to reap from their sweat.
32-year-old Meshak Otieno's workshop is bustling with activity after a Facebook post displaying his workmanship went viral, drew curious visitors attracted to this invention. A bed that could be handy not just for hospitals suffering shortage of isolation beds, but for families allowed to manage coronavirus patients at home. The idea was birthed in 2018.
Daktari alikuwa anajenga hospitali yake. Sasa yeye ndiye alinitumia hii design ya hii bed.
The viral post, he says, opened up a window of opportunity for him. He got orders from families nursing patients at home.
Napata clients wa mmoja mmoja, ule anataka tu bed yake mmoja tu. Anakukujia na kuelezea akona baba yake ama mama yake akona shida ya kiuno. Hakuna vile anaweza mfanya hata kumtoa nje aote jua. Sasa ilifanya niingie kwa hii sekta sana sababu mtu anakuja moja moja.
This one function bed costs 25,000 Kenyan shillings. It is equipped with a recliner on both sides and it is also fitted with wheels. It also has a feeding table. In Githurai 44, Gordon Ogutu, the owner of Wilgo Enterprises, hopes to capitalize on the shortage of coronavirus isolation beds in the counties. Most hospital beds are imported, with majority of them ranging from between 40,000 Kenya shillings to 120,000 Kenya shillings. Just like Meshak, he too is asking the government to support their skills.
Unakuta wakati mwingine hiyo vitu inaimpatiwa kutoka nje. Hapa kwetu kuna hiyo ujuzi ya kuunda hizo vitu. Kayafanya tu ni kutuprovide machineries za kufanya hizo kazi.
They say modern problems require modern solutions, and that has motivated local artisans to come up with innovations such as this to curb the shortage of beds in hospitals. Ruth Sarmway, NTV.
What talent right there. Now, Environment Cabinet Secretary Kirinyaga Tobiko says the repossession of illegally acquired land inside the Ngong forest will continue as planned. Tobiko faulted former Natural Resources Minister Francis Lotodo, who served in the Moi administration, for aiding in the illegal excisions of part of the forest. But as Zainab Ismail reports, the CS says the government will respect the court orders that have temporarily stopped him from demolishing structures that have been built on the contested land.
The fate of the residents of these estates nestled inside the Ngong forest now lies with the courts, as the government vows to reclaim the land it says was acquired fraudulently. Appearing before the National Assembly's Environment Committee, Environment Cabinet Secretary Kirinyaga Tobiko says a lot of these illegal excisions happened during the tenure of the then powerful Minister Francis Lotodo.
You cannot, as the Minister for Forestry, declare forest or part of the forest as degazetted so that, for example, you can gift it away to your girlfriend or wife as a birthday gift.
But the Cabinet Secretary has now asked the National Assembly Committee to mediate a renegotiation deal between the government and the dwellers of the affected estates.
No private citizen that can allocate themselves title. It is a government institution that gives titles.
We will not touch them for now. We will not fence them in for now because there's a court order. Also to give time for this mediation process until we know what do we do. But as regards areas that have not been built up and that are undegazetted, we will proceed ourselves to conserve and protect.
During the proclamation of the Ngong Road Forest in April 30th, 1932, the forest area was 7,231 acres. Various excisions over the years for public and private development have been done. By 1978, the remaining forest area was 3,283 acres, which means about 3,948 acres has been hived off illegally. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
From that, the sports news is coming up next, but first, green beans are up for grabs. Here's an unusual sort of celebration. An entrepreneur in France has offered 1.5 tons of organic green beans from his production to Lyon to celebrate the French city's new green mayor. The entrepreneur is asking the city, now under the control of Europe Ecology Green Party, to support the development of Peri-urban Agriculture.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Mikono juu. Sasa ruka.
Nini? Ulikuwa tatu kuchangamka? Si ungesema. Eh?
Changamkia vipindi vipendavyo, vichekesho, muziki, habari za uteneti na mengine mengi. Jione YouTube na Tenbo. Dial *544# and select YouTube.
Hello, I'm Captain Cargo, your guide at Kenya Ports Authority today.
I'm here to help you navigate through all the shipping and cargo processes at the port of Mombasa with utmost ease. So, if you want to know about our marine and cargo services and tariffs we charge, if you want to learn more about the cargo clearance processes for imports and exports, or if you're interested in our customer service standards, I'm Captain Cargo, always happy to show you the ways of the Port of Mombasa. For questions and to discover more, visit me at www.kpa.co.ke/Captain Cargo.
As of the moment, the police have arrested the suspect behind the attempted murder of Ana de Masalang and the murder of her father. With the suspect's arrest, will this end the case against Senator Salvador Del Mundo? Does this prove he is innocent?
This is what Daddy has been warning you about all this time. Come on, you shouldn't believe anything that comes out of that wretched woman's mouth.
Miss Hillary, isn't it strange that she came under attack on the same day that she was filing charges against your husband?
Victory Gardens Kitengela by Optivan. This gated community is fully developed, filled with ultra-modern value additions. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
All right, the sports news is up now, and Harambee Stars head coach Francis Kimanzi says the technical bench has been engaging the national team players currently out of action due to the coronavirus pandemic. Coach Kimanzi further explained the intricate exercise of selecting players ahead of international matches. Kimanzi further dispelled misconceptions that foreign-based players are better than their colleagues playing locally.
We have a professional team doing the monitoring and scouting to make sure we get the best, based on the guiding principles we want, because we have a philosophy that we want to make sure that it works, and that needs different quality of players. We have a good balance of what we are selecting, we are happy, but most of the time we don't satisfy everyone. Sometimes even some technical support team members are not satisfied as well. But you have to take a chance and the risk, and that is the risk of the head coach. So you have to be brave to handle that, because nobody will be happy when you don't get a selection. But we have to avoid to give presents and only reward the best.
Wazito forward Piston Mutamba has lamented the lost opportunities occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Mutamba offers that apart from the current woes facing the Kenyan Premier League club, COVID-19 forced travel restrictions saw him miss 2 crucial trials abroad. The 22-year-old scored 8 goals from 14 appearances in the 2019-2020 season. NTV Sport spoke to the forward at a Ruiru-based football academy where he's been keeping fit during the forced off-season.
Unapata nimeanza kulearn vitu mpya kama kutrain kivyangu bila wachezaji wa timu. Inabidi najisukuma kivyangu nijaribu nifikishe level nilikuwa nataka by next season.
Mbali na soka msimu huu wa corona, labda umesoma nini?
Kitu nilikuwa nafanya ilikuwa imefungiwa, kama nilikuwa na shughuli ya gari, biashara ya Uber, na Uber yenyewe ilikuwa sasa imeenda mahali. Sasa unapata ikafungiwa kama iko huko. Sasa biashara ikakuwa imegwama kabisa.
Utawaambia nini wachezaji wengine ambao kiukweli katika huu msimu wa corona labda ndio wamegundua kwamba usitegemee soka tu?
Ukipata unaweza weka kitu mahali kupe hata upato ya karibu shilingi 10. Jaribu uweke, itakusaidia.
Ameondoka kocha mkuu Stewart Hall, amerejea nyumbani kwao ama atarejea nyumbani kwao kule England. Amekuwa kocha wa aina gani msimu huu umekuwa naye?
Amekuwa kocha mzuri. Ndio mimi nimelearn mingi ikiwa naye hapo Wazito.
Na kama sio msimu wa corona, labda tungekuwa tumekuona umeenda majaribio mahali?
Nilikuwa niende majaribio country mbili. Haina ulipata venye corona ikakuja ika-affect hiyo, akasema siwezi enda juu. Pia huko ball bado jarudi.
Wapi na wapi?
Ilikuwa Sweden na nyingine ikakuwa Swaziland.
Elsewhere, even as the government embarks on rehabilitating stadiums in the country, there are stakeholders in some sports disciplines that feel left out. A section of boxers are concerned that the stadium rehabilitation campaign has ignored the sport.
Talanta nyingi ama wale mabondia shupavu ambao waliweza kuleta sifa hapa nchini walikuwa wanatoka katika ukumbi, hasa hizi ukumbi zilikuwa za serikali, wakati ule ilikuwa chini ya City Council, kwa sasa zitakuwa chini ya uongozi wa county. Hizo ukumbi nyingi zilikuja zikageuzwa zikakuwa pengine zinafanya mambo ya biashara, zingine zimekuwa mambo ya makanisa na shughuli nyingi tu ambazo pengine za mambo tofauti na michezo jinsi zilivyokuwa hapo awali. Kama serikali inaweza kutilia maanani tuweza kukuza ama kuhifadhi zile ukumbi na tukajaribu kuhimiza vijana waende wajaribu kukuza talanta zao katika mazingira hayo ya hizo ukumbi, na itakuwa ni vizuri kwa sababu tunajua serikali pia inajaribu kuhimiza vile vijana wanaweza kupata nafasi za kupata kazi, na michezo ni njia moja ambayo vijana wanaweza kupata kipato cha kujikimu kimaisha.
Now, Manchester City will play in the UEFA Champions League next season after the Court of Arbitration for Sport lifted the club's 2-year ban from European football. City were handed the suspension by UEFA's club financial control body in February for breaching the club licensing and financial fair play regulations. Manchester City denied any wrongdoing and appealed the decision at CAS last month. After hearing evidence over the course of 3 days in June, CAS have now overturned the suspension. City, coached by Pep Guardiola, have already secured second place in the English Premier League this season. City's fine has been cut from €30 million down to €10 million. Now, Bournemouth were handed a lifeline when Leicester imploded during 2 minutes of mayhem in the English Premier League on Sunday. In the 66th minute, Leicester keeper Kasper Schmeichel booted a goal kick into Wilfred Ndidi's back, forcing his teammate to trip Callum Wilson. Junior Stanislas stepped up to score the resulting penalty, and 101 seconds later, Dominic Solanke's weak shot, or rather that's probably 1 minute perhaps and 1 second, trickled under Schmeichel's woeful attempt to save. Leicester defender Kagla Soyuncu was then sent off for kicking Wilson as he attempted to retrieve the ball from the net after Solanke's goal. Tonight, Manchester United host Southampton at Old Trafford.
Stanislas has never beaten Leicester. Oh, Solanke is nipped in here, and he scored! Oh my!
All right, and that's it on NTV Tonight. The sports news wraps it all up for us. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Smriti, Vidyarthi, our sign language interpreter, Flora Atieno. We'll see you again tomorrow. In the meantime, do stay safe.
This is NTV.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Pata 50% extra credo bila expiry ya kupiga na ku-SMS across networks. Piga star 444 star scratch card pin hash, na kama ni M-Pesa star 444 star 2 hash. Safaricom for you.
As of the moment, the police have arrested a suspect behind the attempted murder of Ana de Masalang and the murder of her father. With the suspect's arrest, will this end the case against Senator Salvador Del Mundo? Does this prove he is innocent?
This is what Daddy has been warning you about all this time. Come on, you shouldn't believe anything that comes out of that wretched woman's mouth.
Miss Hillary, isn't it strange that she came under attack on the same day that she was filing charges against your husband?
Victory Gardens Kitengela by Optiven. This gated community is fully developed, filled with ultra-modern value additions. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
The young ones are at home, and we know how that can go. Don't worry, we've got you.
A lesson will be learned.
-3 times -4.
They can have fun as they learn on NTV.
What does 0 mean? It's just a number that means nothing.
This is so much fun! It's our secret. NTV, turning on your world. Kids edutainment in association with Blue Band Peanut Butter.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10.
We are the Moriahs.
Marriage ni poa. However, iko na issues na challenges zake kama kuzoeana, small fights, lack of trust, poor communication na shida mingi ndogo ndogo hapa na pale. And just the same way nyinyi huzipitia hizi shida, the Moriahs are not any different. And that's why here at the Moriahs, Mo na size 8 write down their problems on a paper and put them in a jar. Then, wanna invite couples who have gone before them for dinner wawasaidie kutatua hizi shida. They do this because wanapendana sana and they want to make their marriage work. Umbukeni, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. Welcome to Dine with the Moriahs.
Okay, babe, yeah. Unaangalia saa unaisha?
Naangalia ndio sasa unajua leo ni siku ya Monday. Nasikia nimewaka hivi.
Uko excited leo. Uko so excited.
Mimi ndio nilichukua last time. Chukua kadhaa tuone nini.
Acha nichukue tu hii. Hakuna haja kuchukua kadhaa baby, it's okay.
Sasa mimi niangalia kama kuna kitu hapa.
Baggage. Babe, si mimi nimeandika, hii ndio uliandika wewe.
Ati food. Uliandika food hapa.
Wachana hiyo. Mimi
nataka kuhusu food hivyo.
Babe, can you concentrate? Unaharibu flow, rudisha hapo.
So, unaona sasa this is another issue. So, what makes you think tutafanya hiyo?
Sio ndio umeniambia nichukue la same ulichukua wewe unaharibu flow.
Because najaribu kujifanya because najua mimi niliandika hiyo.
Haya, wewe ndio uliandika baggage.
Yes.
Unamaanisha nini na baggage? Baggage gani? Baggage ya kubeba, baggage.
You see unajua kutoka tuane. Umekuanga na issues na mimi 24/7. Everything I do in this house ni issue. Everything I do, left, right, center ni issue. So na feel either mimi nilileta baggage kwa hii marriage ama ni wewe ulileta. One of us.
So unasema mimi naonanga uko na too much baggage.
Yes, wewe unakuwa perfect kwa hii marriage. But kitu yote ikienda wrong ni mimi. Wambwa kikohoa ni mimi. Gari kiisha pressure ni mimi. I need you to explain to me tafadhali.
But ni ukweli wewe ndio ulikam na baggage mingi. Si unajua nani anakuanga na issues kwa hii marriage. Hata nimekuwa patient. Hivyo ndio iko kwa meza. Wewe ndio ulikuja na baggage mingi.
Mimi nilikuja na mingi zako. Hebu niambie zako mbili.
Moja.
Ama mbili.
Mimi naongeanga tu sana.
Hiyo ndio
shida yangu.
So that's a baggage.
Lakini wewe uko na tushida. Unajua baby uko na tushida. Univenye si ati niko na ubaya. Nataka tu ukwe better person. Hiyo tu ndio niko na issue.
Is that an excuse?
Kwani ni mbaya kutaka mtu akwe mpoa? Si mimi nataka kuwe mpoa. Imagine niko na all the love.
The problem I have with you hatuwezi solve hapa. So let's do this. Kama kawaida, we call people, si ndio? Because mimi nawe hatuwezi solve.
Okay, mimi sioni hiki kwa issue. Because me I want you to be better. Baby, I'm doing it with all the love.
Haiwezi. Unanipushaje nikuwe better? Yet everything I do is wrong.
Sasa unataka kuita nani?
Niliangukia.
Sasa unataka tufanye nini?
I'm very few men wenye tunaangukia perfect.
Unataka kuita nani basi? Sasa unataka kuita nani? Juu hata nikisema si issue utafura. Unataka kuita nani?
Tuita Madhenges kwa issue.
Perfect. Well, we'll understand. She's a woman. She knows how to tweet. Women tweet this. Women tweet that. Niko hapa tu tweeting. Sasa twitch. Ni vibaya make screws iko perfect. Mimi sioni issue hapa. Tuendeleni kujibamba.
She's not coming alone.
Sini sawa, wakawa huyu yuko mimi, I don't have a problem. Wapigie simu kwa.
Iko unaongea mingi
utazimwa. By the way, wakikam kuna kitenge fulani imeshonwa. Wacha wakam. Kuna kitenge fulani smart sana. Nataka tuvae. Sawa?
Sasa bado unichukulie serious. Unaongea kila time ni jokes. I am serious. Hiyo mbio uko nao unajua itazimwa tu.
Babe, wapigie wewe wacha. I love you. Wapigie. Wapigie acha nikaangalie kama vitenge tuliisha.
She never takes anything serious.
This week's guests ni Kenyan musicians David Mathenge, aka Nameless, na Wahoo Kagwi, aka Wahoo, and they have been married for 15 years.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, Nakafiti. Hi. How are you?
Karibu sana.
How's it going?
It's good, yeah?
This house is looking hot.
Yeah? Karibu sana. Inaweza?
Hey,
nakwambia. You tried ama pale nini?
Nice.
Ujaribu. Tumachungu.
Kapande.
Ndio hiyo sasa. Wanasemanga Kenya unaingia nayo ndio inatengenezwa. So atengeneza hii ndio tukunywe hii.
Kwambia.
Kunywe juu.
So we just see this place on TV. Umenotice kitu?
Hizo vitu zina match.
Matching. Hatukupata hiyo memo, sisi tumekuja tu hivi, lakini it's alright. We are okay.
Kuna kaishuka kwa hapa hivi unajua watu wetu hatuwezi shinda tukiwapeleka left, right and center. Si kama nyinyi mko na issue ama ni sisi?
What's that?
Niliandika baggage because sikuwa na jina lingine poa about that issue. Inaitwa baggage.
Baggage unamaanisha?
Baggage inamaanisha hivi. Nilikuwa nimekuexplainia, unaona bado. Unaona ni kama bado
kama serious. Unajua kuna vitu zingine mtu atakaki kusikia.
I know ati baggage
kuna vile maskini na
mimi sioni issue unless ni mimi.
Okay, no acha mwao.
Sasa utaacha niseme issue yangu ama utaendelea tukuongea? By baggage I meant everything I do kwa hii nyumba. Everything nafanya kwa hii nyumba inakuanga niko wrong. Kila kitu kienda wrong hapa bro. Kila kitu nikifanya ni wrong. Hata sikumbuki nikiambiwa nilifanya right.
Tuliongea by the way.
Hiyo ni mimi nimehave kuiforce mpaka ikakuwa ni right.
Ukakuwa right.
Ikakuwa ni right.
Okay.
Ai, ona natafuta huruma. Unataka tukulilie ama tukuone oi. Kuchi baby.
Wow, Maze. I can only imagine how it feels to be on the receiving end of that. Like you're always on the wrong. Because the truth is, sequely, you're not always wrong.
So everything nafanya ni wrong. Yani kila kitu nikifanyanga. Yani
na hiyo
sijui ni nini.
Hiyo ni true
Mimi sioni ikiwa issue.
That he's wrong all the time.
No, if I correct him, I don't see
not a problem.
It's not an issue.
Yeah.
See, I'm just like twitching here, twitching there, twitching there and there.
Umekuja kumsort. Umekuja umempata hivi.
Alafu nimtengeneze kidogo.
Akwe sawa.
Akona potential mom. You know, I don't see a problem.
I see you.
Oh, you see what?
I see you.
Oh,
I see you. Anamuelewa bro, by the way, anamuelewa sana manze. Hii ndio na feel kila siku saa zingine.
No, I this guy's talking like this because we've been there. We've been there. And I know unaona kama si issue. Lakini sijui kama tunaweza kuongea mimi na wewe.
Okay.
Tuongee kidogo.
Okay,
and then we just see how that story is going to go. He's talking like that. He's being sarcastic.
Oh, guy.
No, siko sarcastic.
My big brother.
I'm just curious to know, yani wewe mwenyewe uko na issue wewe mwenyewe?
Nilimuuliza the same question. The other day.
Curious.
Before tuaite, niliuliza the same question.
Okay, let me just first understand it from Wahoo's perspective. Because I don't think nikimcorrect and correct, I don't see a problem.
You don't see any problem.
Tuache hapa na mzito alafu mimi tuongeze because me I don't think
because but then that's why me I'm happy, I'm cheerful. Well, by the way, ati nimeonyesha kuna
I got you.
SGR fry. We are coming guys.
Sawa. Buda, hakuna kitu mtu chukuliwa serious. Hakuna kitu
Nigga, I'm helping you, bro.
Nigga, I got you.
Darling, I'm helping you.
So, ukikuja hapa, someone doesn't want to understand you. They feel you're supposed to have already known.
As of the moment, moment, the police have arrested the suspect behind the attempted murder of Ana de Masalang and the murder of her father. With the suspect's arrest, will this end the case against Senator Salvador Del Mundo? Does this prove he is innocent?
This is what Daddy has been warning you about all this time. Come on, you shouldn't believe anything that comes out of that wretched woman's mouth.
Miss Hillary, isn't it strange that she came under attack on the same day that she was filing charges against your husband?
Victory Gardens Kitengela by Optiven. This gated community is fully developed, filled with ultra-modern value additions. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. 6, 7, 8.
The young ones are at home, and we know how that can go. Don't worry, we've got you.
A lesson will be learned.
-3 times -4.
They can have fun as they learn on NTV.
What does 0 mean? It's just a number that means nothing.